I once turned my steps to London, where truth should surely be found, and immediately went to a lawyer at Westminster to make my complaint. I said, "For Mary's love, that holy saint, pity the poor man who would proceed." But, for lack of money, I could not succeed. As I thrust through the crowd, by misfortune my hood was gone, but I did not stay long until I reached the King's Bench. I quickly knelt before the judge, and asked him for God's sake to take heed, but for lack of money, I might not succeed. Beneath the judges sat a great company of clerks, writing rapidly in unison. One stood up and cried, "Richard, Robert, and John of Kent." He spoke so quickly that I didn't know what he meant, but he who lacked money might not succeed. Then I went to the Court of Common Pleas, where one sat with a silk hood. I paid him respect, as I should, and told him my case as well as I could, how I had been defrauded of my goods by falsehood. I got not a mum of his mouth for my reward. For lack of money, I might not succeed. From there I went to the rolls before the clerks of the Chancery, where I found many earning pence, but none of them once regarded me. Kneeling, I gave them my complaint, which they liked well, but without money I could not succeed. In Westminster Hall I found one, dressed in a long gown of ray. I quickly crouched and knelt before him, and prayed for his help for Mary's love. He said, "I don't know what you mean," and he told me to leave. For lack of money, I could not succeed. Within this hall neither rich nor poor would help me, even if I were dying. Seeing this, I went out the door, where Flemings began to cry at me, "Master, what will you barter or buy? Fine felt hats or spectacles for reading? Lay down your silver, and here you may succeed." Soon I went to Westminster Gate, when the morning sun was high. Cooks paid me great attention, and proffered me bread with ale and wine and fine fat beef ribs. They began to spread a fair cloth, but, wanting money, I might not succeed. I hurried into London, the prize of the land. One began to cry, "Hot piscods, ripe strawberries, and cherries on the bow." Another called me to come near and buy some spice, pepper, and saffron. But for lack of money, I might not succeed. Then I drew towards Cheapside, where I saw many people standing. One offered me velvet, silk, and linen, and another took me by the hand and said, "Here is Parisian thread, the finest in the land." I was never used to such things, and, wanting money, I might not succeed. Then I went forth to London Stone, throughout all Candlewick Street, where drapers offered me much cloth. Then one came crying, "Hot sheep's feet," another cried, "Mackerel, green rushes," while a third bade me to buy a hood to cover my head. But for want of money, I might not succeed. Cornhill was my next stop, where there was much stolen gear. I saw where my hood hung, that had been lost among the crowd. I thought it wrong to buy my own hood. I knew it as well as I did my creed. But for lack of money, I could not succeed. Next I hurried to Eastcheap and heard a cry, "Beef ribs and many pies." Pewter pots clattered in a heap, and there were harps and pipes and minstrelsy. Some sang of Jenkin and Julian for their reward, but for lack of money, I might not succeed. The tavern keeper took me by the sleeve and said, "Sir, will you try our wine?" I answered, "A penny's worth can do me little harm," and drank a pint, for which I paid. I left there very hungry, and, wanting money, I could not succeed. I rushed to Billingsgate, and a ferryman cried of their departure. I prayed a bargeman for God's sake to let me ride free. "You can't leave here for under 2 pence," he said. I don't care to make my alms deed now, so, lacking money, I could not succeed. Then I returned to Kent, for I would meddle no more with the law since no man gave me attention, and I prepared myself to do as I had done before. Now fate, cruelest of mistresses, save London and send true lawyers their reward, for whoever lacks money with them, they will not succeed.